In the fall of 1964, the second student movement made worldwide headlines for the first time. In the span of 2 months, more than 700 students were arrested in Berkeley, California for voicing their opinions against the idea of being stripped from their freedom of speech. In other words, this was a fight for civil rights within the university. As a result, Ronald Reagan was elected governor of California, and there was also a new university president of UC Berkeley. The free speech movement was sparked when students at the University of California, Berkeley in 1964 were banned from taking part in political activities involving off-campus causes, such as distributing leaflets, discussing major political issues of the day, setting up information tables, and fundraising. The students were deprived from their right to free speech. They were no longer able to advocate and voice their opinions about concerning issues. This meant students could no longer continue promoting the students' civil rights and supporting off-campus issues and standing up for what they believed in. After the 1930s, the fear of communism had seeped in deeply within the people of the United States. Universities began to establish rules that prohibited any type of politics within campuses. Groups of students who were involved in any type of political activity off campus were not allowed to work within the campus. Berkeley students protested at the border of the university and moved with it when the border was later moved a block away. It was essentially a white student protest, which was led by several students who demanded their right to free speech and academic freedom. The free speech movement started a wave of student activism and involvement. On September 14, 1964, the Dean of Students, Catherine Toll, announced student political groups could no longer use the plaza at Bancroft and Telegraph and strictly enforced the university's existing regulation policy of the prohibition to support of off-campus political issues. As a result, students fought back and continued to set up information tables all over the UC Berkeley campus. They were determined to win this fight. Despite the rules, on October 1, 1964, graduate student Jack Weinberg, along with other students, set up tables in Sproul Plaza with political information and continued to raise awareness of their movement and political issues. Unfortunately, the school administration was not happy with the students' disobedience and tried to shut them down. Jack Weinberg refused to follow orders and was arrested and thrown into a police car as thousands of students watched. Students were enraged and angry with his arrest, and approximately 3,000 students immediately surrounded the police car he was held in order to prevent it from moving. The students were there for about 36 hours. During this 36 hours, the police car became a platform where the students and leaders spoke from to the thousands of other people in the crowd. One of the most renowned leaders of the free speech movement, Mario Savio, emerged from here. On December 2, 1964, Mario Savio spoke to thousands of people and delivered one of his most famous and passionate speeches at the steps of Sproul Hall on the UC Berkeley campus. Following Savio's speech, students rushed into and took over Sproul Hall. All the employees were dismissed and the building's doors were locked. Arrests started taking place at 3 a.m. when Governor Pat Brown ordered the building to be evacuated from the protesters. The evacuation took about 12 hours, and a total amount of approximately 801 arrests were made, including Mario Savio's.
I ask you to consider, if this is affirmed, and if the Board of Regents are the Board of Directors, and if President Kerr in fact is the manager, then I tell you something, the faculty are a bunch of employees, and we're the raw materials. But we're a bunch of raw materials that don't mean to have any process upon us, don't mean to be made into any product, don't mean to end up being bought by some clients of the university, be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone. We're human beings.
Many of the images we have now from this time period show the plaza where most of the activity happened, led by Mario Savio, whose apartment later became used as a place where meetings were planned, where leaflets were made and phone calls were made. It was called FSM Central. An 18-member campus committee on political activity, CCPA, with equal representation from the administration, the faculty, and the students, met for 3 weeks without coming to an agreement. On Wednesday, December 2nd, about 2,000 people occupied the administration building. At around 3 a.m., the police began arresting. The following Monday, Professor Robert Scalapino of the Political Science Department assembled around 15,000 students. Mario Savio made his way to the podium intending to speak when several policemen took him down. The crowd was furious. Some rushed to the stage and were tackled by the police. Once everything settled, Mario was given the chance to speak, and he simply invited everyone to a rally at the administration building where mainly faculty and a few public officials were the speakers. They agreed with the students that political activity should be allowed on campus. It seemed as if the FMS had won, but it wasn't over. When they met on December 18th, they voted to support the First and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution, but insisted on law and order. Student groups were now able to meet, set up tables, distribute literature, raise money, and pretty much express their opinion at rallies and demonstrations. Place and manner rules, as well as non-white students, including dropouts and alumni, could do on campus property.